Good afternoon, it's Friday, the last working day of the weekend. Live from our news hub here at the 48 Swanika Street will bring you a deluge of the stories that matter. Let's begin with our top stories. And running mate of the NDC, Professor Nana Opoku Ajiman, entered to CSOs yesterday and charged them to lead for developmental change. Also, Read Camp yesterday climaxes their reading and skill writing for young ones. And in health, Ghana Health Service begins subnational polio immunization. And in business, Trade Minister Alan Tremantin assures of reopening of Boroka inland ports. And in Mauritius, ban on fishing sales from polluted lagoon. And on the international front this afternoon, Assange trial postponed after suspected COVID-19 exposure. We've got group details of all these and more, plus some sport and entertainment coming up shortly. Do stay. My name is Fauzu Masawudu. Let's begin with the headlines, the details now. Then the Member of Parliament of Sanerugu constituency in the northern region, ABA Fuseni, has said that the NDC's decision to extend the free senior high school policy to cover private schools in the country is not a sole move by the NDC. Speaking on Pan-African Television's Good Morning Africa show, the lawmaker revealed that the decision was taken in consultation with heads of private schools and will help abolish the double-track system in the second cycle education system. We apologize for that. We will play the bites in our subsequent broadcast or in the course of this program. Now, Mother of All Nations, a non-governmental organization in collaboration with Mobras Farm, has held a closing ceremony for Read Camp 20 COVID-19 edition at Damfa Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Mount Moriah in Accra. The Read Camp 20 is a literacy project targeted at improving the reading and creative writing skills while instilling strong self-confidence as they ignite the love of reading among young ones in the communities. The organizers of the project, with sponsorship from Mobras Farms, produce reading materials to help in the education of children while at home. Special guests and dignitaries who grace the occasion include Ni Afutu Brumpon, Chief of Damfa, and his elders Sheikh Salman Al-Hassan, Chief Imam of Medina Central Mosque, Chief Ali Dagadu, Chief of Medina Zongo, Chief Al-Ahaji Amadou Baba Seidu, Chief of Medina, among others. Reverend Daniel Ayim, Head of Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Mount Moriah, and Sheikh Salman Al-Hassan, Chief Imam of Medina Central Mosque, admonishes the young ones to make reading their habits.
I read a lot. I read about every life. So reading is one of the most important tools for you to read at all. It's the most important tool to the process. Why reading is more important to the teacher? Reading is important because once speaking and reading are the building blocks of life. What you hear, what you read, what you experience in life is the building blocks of your life. Beloved, what you become in the future will depend on the words you believe about yourself. The word you have read, the words you believe, the written ones and the spoken one. is showing that the best predictor of future education achievement and life success is reading ability. Reading helps our mental stimulation. It also reduces stress. Now, because of our economic nature in our country, most of the persons are in stress. So I don't know what to do. But when you read, it will reduce your stress.
According to some of the volunteers, this is the best work they have done so far, helping people.
Okay, so the read camp has been running for the past 5 years. This year, because of the COVID-19, we decided to do it in a different way. So we did a home invasion method whereby we went to the home of these kids. We did data collection first. We went to the homes of these kids with our reading material. With the help of Mobra's farm, we were able to print 3,000 reading materials, and our target was 3,000 kids. So 2,000 from Greater Accra region and 1,000 from Kumasi.
To some other stories, the Coalition of Aggrieved Teachers has debunked claims by the Vice President, Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia, that suggests to have cleared all arrears owed teachers in the country. The group wishes to draw the attention of the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, to the fact that teachers from 2012 to 2016 have still not been paid their legacy arrears, contrary to claims by the government as said by Vice President during the 2020 manifesto launch. Have been joined over the phone by Efa Kweku Tebri. He is the Central Regional Representative for the Coalition of Aggrieved Teachers. Good day, Efa. You're welcome to Pan-Africa News.
Yeah, hello. I was actually, can I send my picture or it's chilly for that?
Good day, Efa. You are welcome. You are live on Pan-Africa News. Hello, Efa.
Yeah.
Yes. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Very well. So now, what exactly is your case? Because you make the case of the government not paying you for some time, and also you register your disappointment or your displeasure towards they are capturing in their 2020 manifesto as being cleared. What exactly is your case?
Okay, please, thank you very much. Our issue is that you see a teacher who goes to remote areas to go and teach, even sometimes taking canoe and then walking a long distance to go and teach, all because of the welfare of Ghana or Ghanaian children. And at the end, we work for either 1 year, 1.5 years, or 2 years. At first, it was back pay, and then later it was brought to 3-month policy. You work for 1 year or 2 years, you be paid 3 months, and you have to fill forms for the rest of the money. The first 4 months came, but the rest were asked to fill forms. As I speak to you, we have filled the forms, we have filled forms for almost 20 times. And up to date, we have not received a penny in our bank account. So we came together to draw the attention of the government that we are too old, therefore we need the money. Just last week, our Director General of Education, Professor Amankwa, came out to the public that teachers are not owed any arrest. In fact, that even angered more. It angered us more now to come out in our numbers of all those who are owed, just to tell our professor that the information is given out to the public is inaccurate, because we that we are owed, we have not received a penny in account. And senior, the issue is that the issue started from 2012, 2013, 2014, 15, and 16. Now 2013, some of the teachers were paid, some did not receive. They came to 2014 and 2016. But with 2015 year back, not even a single teacher has received even a penny. And that's a great worry. So we have given the government ultimatum that by the end of this month, September, if the money doesn't hit in our account, over 20,000 teachers are hitting our street to demonstrate
Okay.
to the government that we need our money.
Before we even come to your next line of action, what exactly have government been communicating to you by far?
Exactly what you have been hearing, because Professor Amankwa is an employee of the government. So if he comes to tell us that they don't owe us, of course that is the information.
So is that
Vice President. If our vice president will come and tell us that they have cleared all legacy arrests, of course, that's the information you want to carry across.
So is that to say that they have taken an entrenched position of really not sitting with you because they are saying they have cleared all debts? Is that a conclusion to make?
It to them, that is not conclusion to me. The issue on the ground is that if they have paid, our bank account and our pay slip are supposed to be the evidence. As you speak now, nothing of that sort. So the information they are putting outside there to us that they owe is palpable falsehood.
We also read in the news that your coalition actually came out to say that the government should publish names of those they have paid. Have you seen that yet?
You see, we came out with our ultimatum, and then our various teacher unions have also given the government 2 weeks to produce the names of those they think they have paid. Then line by line, we will compare and contrast as to who is speaking the truth.
Okay, so what will be your next line of action?
Thank you. As I was speaking, our next line of action is, first of all, we are going to petition the office of the presidency because we are speaking on the low key, but no result is coming out. We are petitioning the government by the grace of God in next week. Now, by the end of the month, if the money doesn't hit in our account, there will be a normal demonstration with our family members and those who depend on us. That is our next line of action.
And so, but before I take leave of you, I quickly want to find out from you. You have a leadership of the coalition. Have your leadership made an attempt of sitting with those who actually matter in this case, as in the respective government authorities? Have they made that move yet?
Okay, as I'm telling you, I am the PRO of Association of Agri Teachers. Our coalition is Association of Agri Teachers.
Yes.
I'm the PRO. And what we decide to do is that we are petitioning the office of the presidency, we are petitioning audit service, we are petitioning general education service, and then we are still giving them that ultimatum of by the end of this month that if all this fails, then demonstration will definitely come up.
Okay, thank you very much, Ifa, for making time for us this afternoon.
Please, can I make a suggestion?
Really quickly, go ahead.
Okay, please, what I want to put across is that I wish you invite me and invite any of the government appointees or invite the TES. Then we'll put them aside the truth, and then the people of Ghana will get to know who is actually speaking. So we want a live video interview, stop aside with the government for a betterment. I'm
sure the team will put that together in our quest to unraveling the truth to all this matter. But thank you very much for making time for us this afternoon. Yes, so Efa Kweku Teburi, he is the Central Regional Representative for the Coalition of Aggrieved Teachers. He says he's actually the Public Relations Officer. You are still watching Pan-African News on Pan-African Television. We're going for a quick breather. We're back with more stories.
Na jawo tikai mu da do presi wa se won timesi
mate mi sisi mi sire why na mi yifa na cheche won e dai malaria din ya chinsa
e da kwa kuma 2 years so no dan proken he ba mister osisi mbadu se from oyire so doctor ka che ni se o malaria mo ani bo ni pedue mu a so no dank antima x yare malaria e be kokra obi wo hono ma ne yem ye ne yanso a so no dank gastro care herba mister oho beton dank phyto care herba mister koku ebe ye hu adwuma ma wapo no wapo so tutu dank extra care herba mister obenya hoden ne watimi anante make afo dank no nyina e de amamo
na obenya drain nya bi we
pharmacy shop ana herba shop also pe dank no a ye be ma obi
acho mo number ye sen
0266593330
eloi oba penfo oba ma akranufo anya akra woni mfie du mienu ntime no
FDA ahwehwɛ saa adwadie nkrato yi mu agye atom sɛ ɛyɛ
The Member of Parliament for Sanerugu constituency in the Northern Region, ABA Fuseni, has said that the NDC's decision to extend the free senior high school policy to cover private schools in the country is not a sole move by the NDC. Speaking on Pan-African Television's Good Morning Africa show, the lawmaker revealed that the decision was taken in consultation with heads of private schools and will help abolish the double-track system in the second cycle education system.
We have indicated in our manifesto that, Kwame, we shall abolish the obnoxious double track. And they are beside themselves. By NDC, you are lying. How can you do that within 1 year? And that's why we say, Kwame, they are not thinking outside the box. Kwame, let me just give you one ingenious way the NDC thinks outside the box and has found a solution to this problem. Kwame, we had interactions, like I said, this manifesto springs from the will of our people. In meeting part of the stakeholders, we met an organization called CHOPS, okay. CHOPS, Conference of Heads of Private Schools. And in our interaction with that, Kwame, they gave us a lot of useful ideas. To the effect that today, Kwame, as part of the ending of the obnoxious system, we are going to take advantage of their facilities. Kwame, you know that some of them have wonderful classroom blocks and others for ending this obnoxious double track. So by incorporating the private sector and the private schools into the senior high secondary system, we are going to largely solve that problem. And then, Kwame, have enough space within. We say we in the system within 2 years. The array of infrastructure, and Kwame, we have done it before.
Now, the chiefs and people of Techiman have expressed joy over the short-cutting of a construction of a solid waste management plant by the Jospan Group of Companies with support from the Sanitation Ministry. The facility is expected to manage filth from 8 districts of the region when completed.
The chiefs, who could not hide their joy, expressed excitement on the project to media at the sidelines of the sword-cutting ceremony at Fiaso in the newly created Bono East region. The President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, was on a 2-day tour of the Bono East region, cut sword for the solid waste management plant at Fiaso in the Techiman South municipality of the Bono East region. The plant, when completed, will create 75 permanent jobs and 250 direct jobs for the people in the area. The Oman Heni of Techiman, Osi Adeyo Nana Ikumfi Ameyao, the fourth, expressed satisfaction with the project and believes the facility will make Techiman and its adjoining communities clean and called on all stakeholders to support the project.
An investment the government is bringing to us and everybody is supposed to support it in the sense that when the project takes off, I think 75 people will be taken on board as employees, and then in the course of time the number will be increased. So let us give it a try. Everybody should support it.
The Minister for Sanitation and Water Resources, Cecilia Dapa, stressed the President's commitment to a clean Ghana. Group Chairman of Jospan Group of Companies, Dr. Joseph Siao Ichipon, was grateful for the efforts of the Sanitation Ministry in securing the 15 million funding from Hungary to construct the facility.
Enche yebetu mwana bon na emetiewa mu yehuse saa mepo ne nyina yeden abafom amansase no yetumi dia yebibia eho ehia oman no.
Some of the residents also shared their views on the project.
When you go toilet, when you see you go, she be a baby boy and say no boy and better say nothing. Ya yard you know ha na boy and pampani bahanti a higher. To mumbo ya why.
Bibi wa say ya plant bi obia be jai bola no ombu ha no sisi adom obia bola de be kokko na menim sese what so a ate wo san
Mate, Bachamiti and so I am with the pa. Ama Yadamasi bebre say, Mobaba boy, I was a ball away hono. Yadamasi and Monsera. Yep, you share ball a good dear, and Yakura, Usua, yes, Sanum. I know, and I share ball a good. It is here. If I saw Ben, I been free. I dare maybe see on Babessin. If I saw there, if I saw Baby. If you say Yabenya fertilizer, no more pea and a benya frimu. Tumbe yes idea where I be boy a pa ye.
Cesar more stories. Running mate to the former president and leader of the largest opposition party, NDC, Professor Jenana Opoku Ajiman, has charged some civil society organizations to use their offices in changing the lives of people. She made these remarks during the last day of her tour to some civil society organizations in Accra. The tour was to engage with CSOs in looking at some possible ways of enhancing good governance. My colleague George Vinay Yorsen has more in the following report.
As part of measures to familiarize herself with all stakeholders in good governance, a 3-day tour has been organized for the running mate of the opposition National Democratic Congress, Professor Nana Opoku Ajiman, which ended yesterday, Thursday. On the last day of the tour, she visited CDD Ghana, Imani Africa, ASEP, Ghana Integrity Initiative, and the Socialist Forum of Ghana. In her address, she charged the institutions to help enhance democracy and development in their line of duties. Professor Nana Jane Opoku Ajiman further stressed the role civil society organizations play in enhancing good governance.
Even if it's governance, what is that? If it is about energy, what is it? If it's about corruption, what does it mean? If it's about integrity, it's all about the final product should be about the quality of human life, the quality of the life that we lead in this country. Therefore, an interdisciplinary approach is always helpful. Being interested in what the ministries are doing, how they interface with good governance is very important. It may not always be about Parliament, although that is critical. It may not always be about the rules we are not obeying. That's also important. But if, for example, I just say that we are the energy people, we are the energy, we should be interested in the kind of laws we are teaching our students in the faculties of law regarding energy. We should show interest in that. We should be interested in what percentage of our syllabus pays attention to the extractive law. We are here always signing contracts. That law of contract that came once upon a time, is this still fit for purpose? So you see, yes, it's about energy, but you should be interested in trading. You should be interested in knowing how are we turning our resources into products we can use. We know we have all the resources, the code, we read about them. We read about them before our teeth came out. And it's about time to ask ourselves, so how can we import everything? What is stopping us? Why do we train our people to the level of fixing machines we have not created? And so on and so forth. So even though you may feel it doesn't affect you, it does. If there's no peace in the country, where will the good governance come from? And if you don't speak up about unpeaceful things, where will the peace come from? So you may feel you are not the peace council, so it's not your job. It is your job. Because it's about the structures of governance, it's about how it is implemented, it is about how justice is seen to be served, that there will be peace or there will not be peace. It's about people feeling included. It's about people feeling that their voices are respected, that their needs are met, that peace will come about. And I'm sure in many other ways. So even as we have split for the purposes of emphasis, I just want to urge that everything is everybody else's business too. So I want to...
Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, Nana Oye Bampo Ado, Monakoti, among others, were part of a team for the tour.
Now, the history of the African continent tells us that it's some individuals, traditional authorities and politicians put their lives and careers on the line just to ensure that this continent gain independence. Now, over the years, there have been several conversations as to how some of these leaders who put their lives and their careers on the line to ensure liberation and independence for Africa exit without their exit being celebrated one way or the other. Whereas some have celebrated, others I've pretended that these people, one way or the other, didn't even exist in the first place. Today on Pan-African News, we throw the light on celebration of Amilcar Lopez da Costa Cabral. He's a Bissau Guinean agricultural engineer, intellectual poet, revolutionary and political organizer, born on 12 September 1924 and died on January 20, 1973. He was also the founder and secretary general of the African Party for the Independence of Guinea and Cape Verde. We have been joined over the phones by Bonsi Anyetri. He is representative, actually a member of the All People's Revelation Party in Guinea.
Hello.
To further the conversation on what exactly tomorrow means to the people of Guinea. Hello, Anyete. Thank you very much for joining us on Pan-African News.
Thank you very much for having me.
Very well. Now, tomorrow is a special day on the Guinean calendar. I need you to reiterate to me exactly how big a deal is the birthday of Amilcar Lopez da Costa Cabral to the people of Guinea-Bissau.
Yes, simply put, Amilcar Cabral was Guinea-Bissau's own Kwame Nkrumah. He was their Patrice Lumumba. So he is remembered very much so in Guinea for correct reason. Not only was he a political leader, but actually a scientist. So he also contributed a lot of science when it comes to agriculture to the legacy in Guinea-Bissau and also Cape Verde.
Okay. Now, he's played such an integral role, a role that even post-independence, people say it's reflecting on the growth of Guinea. Can we comfortably say that his legacy lives on?
It definitely does.
So paint us a picture. Let's tease us a bit on how Guinea-Bissau will look like, or what Guinea-Bissau will look like tomorrow, 12 September, knowing very well that it's a big day.
Sir, can you repeat that, please?
Hello?
Sir, I think, can you repeat your question, please? I didn't quite get it.
Okay, I said, so, no, tomorrow is a big day, 12 September, his birthday. Tease us a bit on what exactly tomorrow will look like in Guinea-Bissau.
Oh, well, tomorrow we'll have all the celebrations that will be coming together of his political machinery that he set into motion. And it will be very much like what Ghana independence celebrations can be, with concert parties and people wearing the national textile as well, and individual parties in different areas also.
Okay, now, Bontre, last but perhaps not least, I want to find out from you. You made mention in your earlier submission the likes of Patrice Lumumba, Kwame Nkrumah, Amilcar himself, and what have you. These are people who collectively fought for the movement of Pan-Africanism. And for Cabral, he says that for him, culture was key to attaining national liberation. With emphasis on culture, if you consider how we seem to, how some of these foreign exposure seems to eat so much in our culture, can we comfortably say that this movement of Pan-Africanism, or this national liberation movement he talked about, is still attainable?
Oh, definitely. Definitely it is. And when we really closely study the work of Amilcar Cabral, we'll see how possible it is. When we look at the context that those independent leaders were living in particular, also Amilcar Cabral, and you would think that their position was futile. You would really think, how can a small country, and we have to remember that Guinea-Bissau was then, and still is now, a very small territory compared to even the size of Ghana. Their population is quite small, their land mass is quite small, and they were going against the might of Europe, the Portuguese, and so their position looked like it was a task that couldn't succeed. Just like we look at our neo-colonial situation now, and we can also think that it's insurmountable. But they looked at their reality and they started the struggle where they could. When we look at how Cabral waged his own battle, it was quite different to Kwame Nkrumah in that his one was much more military. And so even before Guinea-Bissau achieved its independence, much of Guinea-Bissau was already under his control, territory-wise. Before the Portuguese were finally defeated, most of the landmass outside of the city were all under the control of the PAIGC.
If you look at some of the political ideologies he believed in and the political movements he championed, how much of an inspiration would you say that these ideologies are currently inspiring the recent or the current political framework in Guinea-Bissau?
To what degree it is, like I said, the party, unlike the likes of Nkrumah and so on, the party that Cabral founded is still in power. So even though it has its critics and Pan-Africanism and many of the priorities of Cabral are not being pursued with the kind of vigor and passion that Cabral would perhaps Cabral would definitely have pursued. The fact that the party is still there means that the people of Guinea have to look into the history of this party and see what it was that the party has represented in the past, even where it falls short today. So it is there as a historical monument that people can rally around, people can seek to repair, people can seek to restore. So as a historical edifice, as something that will kickstart many revolutionary conversations, the fact that the PAICC is still ascendant in Guinea-Bissau is a very powerful fact.
Fantastic. Now, before I leave you, I want you to quickly, in a word, describe the relationship between Guinea and Ghana. In a word, maybe on a lighter note.
In a word, I will say potential.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for making time for us on Pan-African News this afternoon. So Bonche Anyete is a member of the All People's Revolution Party in Guinea-Bissau. You're still watching Pan-African News, and on health, the Ghana Health Service, in collaboration with the Global Polio Eradication Initiative, has begun a 4-day subnational polio immunization in 8 regions. The exercise, which would cover Ashanti, Central, Eastern, Greater Accra, Volta, Upper West, Western and Western North regions, will end on September 13, 2020.
The exercise, which kickstarts yesterday, 10th September 2020, is aimed at eradicating polio from the system by immunizing children who are the potential targets of the disease. In all, 179 districts in these regions are supposed to benefit from the exercise. A press statement released by the Ghana Health Service on September 9, 2020 in Accra said the exercise was to stop local transmission because a systematic risk assessment of the polio situation in the country shows that those 8 regions were either affected or stand the risk of being affected. It said the program would target over 4.5 million children who are under the age of 5 years in the regions to maintain high immunity among the population and keep surveillance on the outbreak of polio virus in the country. The release said the health personnel who will immunize their children have undergone COVID-19 restrictions, training, and will also be equipped with personal protective equipment, PPEs, to prevent house-to-house transmission of the virus during the exercise. Therefore, the general public is encouraged to allow the health personnel in their home, and parents are also advised to ensure their children are vaccinated to protect them from preventable diseases, the statement said.
Polio is a vaccine-preventable infectious disease that causes paralysis and death. It is common among children and even adults.
And in business this afternoon, Minister of Trade and Industry Alan Kojo Tremantin has revealed that government would in the coming month cut the sword for the reconstruction of the abandoned Bankra Inland Port project in the Ashanti region after it stalled following the exit of the erstwhile John Agyekum Kufuor government.
The Bankra Inland Ports project, which began under the erstwhile administration of President John Agyekum Kufuor, stalled after his ruling New Patriotic Party (NPP) lost the 2008 general elections and has since not received any major attention. The major infrastructure was supposed to link the ports of Tema and Takoradi to the inner parts of Ghana and its landlocked neighbors of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. It was expected to be a free port that would combine unimodal and intermodal operations aimed at easing congestion at Ghana's seaports, thus facilitate the transit trade of Ghana's landlocked neighbors. The Ghana Shippers Authority has said on its website. Speaking in an interview, Mr. Alan Tremantin said all the necessary process to revamp the project have been completed and very soon a sword cutting ceremony would be held to make way for the redevelopment of the project under an entirely new framework. He said the redesigned project would come with an adjunct industrial city with factories to support the inland port. Honorable Alan Tremantin also said the Ashanti region alone is host to 44 out of the 232 projects under the One District, One Factory initiative. 14 have been completed and running, 11 under construction, and the rest under a special arrangement for farmer-owned and youth-owned trees.
Now, Mauritius Fishery Ministry has banned the sale and consumption of food and seafoods caught in the southeastern lagoon after samples from the sea returned positive tests for traces of hydrocarbons.
About 1,000 tons of oil spilled into a sanctuary for rare wildlife after the Japanese-owned ship MV Wakashio struck a coral reef on 25th July 2020. The National Coast Guard and the Fisheries Protection Services are working together to ensure round-the-clock surveillance and make sure that no fishing takes place in the affected area, the ministry said. A second rally to protect other authorities handling of the massive oil spills is scheduled for 12 September in Mahibeg.
On the international front this afternoon, the first week of the extradition trial of WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange came to an abrupt, although temporary, halt. Trial proceedings have been postponed to Monday by Judge Vanessa Baraucha, who presides over the case after the spouse of a member of the prosecution team contracted COVID-19.
Edward Fitzgerald, who represents Assange, raised concerns of a possible exposure to every person who has been present to the trial since the beginning. He pointed out that while the extent of a possible exposure to the virus is unknown, there are many risks posed to journalists, court staff, the judge, lawyers, and more importantly Assange, if the court continued the proceedings. These concerns were seconded by the prosecution, which prompted Judge Barrister to postpone the proceedings. Journalist Kevin Gottstoller, who has been live reporting the happenings in the court since day one, stated that the whole matter could have been avoided had remote access been made available to both the journalists and Assange. The suspected prosecution member is expected to be tested today, and results will be out by Friday, bringing an end to the 1 week of the proceedings. In the past 3 days, Assange's team represents strong academic and civil society witnesses this week and is expected to continue this next week when the trial resumes. These witnesses sought to bring out the political nature of the prosecution against Assange, despite the prosecution's attempt to make it appear otherwise. They also pointed out the opaque nature of the WikiLeaks indictment in the United States, while evidence against Assange yet to be shared to the public and the threat the case poses to press freedom. Assange currently stands trial for a superseding extradition request from federal prosecutors representing the Donald Trump administration in the U.S. If extradited, he will be made to stand trial under 18 charges of espionage and cyber crimes, together carrying a maximum prison sentence of 175 years.
Still on the international front, 2 persons have been confirmed dead with 3 others injured in an explosion near a military base in Jordan. The Zarqa governorate, home close to 1.5 million Jordanians, has suffered from several such explosions in previous years due to ammunition depots and warehouses situated in the vicinity.
A series of explosions in Jordan killed at least 2 people and injured 3 others in the early hours of Friday, September 11, 2020. The explosions reportedly occurred at an army munitions depot in the Al-Gabari area on the outskirts of Zarqa city, northeast of the Jordanian capital Amman. The explosions caused massive flames and a subsequent cloud of smoke, which were visible even from Amman, approximately 35 kilometers away. It also resulted in the shattering of the windows of homes of many residents of the city, with tremors emanating from the blast reportedly being felt as far as Amman. It killed close to 200 people and injured almost 7,000. Later in a statement to the press, Jordan's Minister of State for Media Affairs, Amjad Adele, stated that initial investigations show that the explosion was caused by an electric circuit in army ammunition depots. The army command hasn't given out any official statement regarding the blast yet. The Zarqa governorate, home close to 1.5 million Jordanians, has suffered from several such explosions in previous years due to the many munitions depots and warehouse situated in the vicinity. The news of the blast comes just 2 days after Jordan's Prime Minister Omar al-Razaz announced on Wednesday, September 9, that the government will be relaunching military conscription for Jordanian men between the age group of 25 to 29 for a limited 1-year period. The government has reportedly decided to relaunch mandatory military service for men in that age group to try and reduce the unemployment rates in the country, which are rising at an alarming speed. The already fragile Jordanian economy has suffered massive financial losses and economic instability and decline following the advent of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. The unemployment rate in the country in the second quarter of 2020 has risen to 23%, 3.8% higher than the same period in 2019. The rate is even higher for university degree holders at 26.6%.
Now, President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, has been accused of deliberately downplaying COVID-19 risk and delaying responses. The book reveals that Trump was aware of the deadly nature of the novel coronavirus infection in January itself, but deliberately downplayed it in public until March.
Authored by journalist Bob Woodward, U.S. President Donald Trump knew about the deadly nature of the novel coronavirus infection much before the World Health Organization (WHO) declared COVID-19 a global pandemic on March 11th. The audio recording of Trump's interview with Woodward, which were published in the Washington Post on September 9th, Wednesday, revealed that he deliberately downplayed the seriousness of the disease in public. According to the book entitled Range, scheduled to be out on September 15, Trump got his briefing on the deadly nature of the disease from his national security advisor on January 28th. In his telephonic conversation with Woodward on February 7th, Trump had admitted that COVID-19 was more deadly than your strenuous flu. Despite getting repeated warnings from his intelligence agency in February, Trump tried to downplay the threat in public in order to avoid panic, the book claims. On February 27th, he publicly claimed that the virus is going to disappear one day. Trump also tried to force states to reopen the economy. It is widely believed that the deliberate downplaying of the seriousness of the situation delayed the implementation of the necessary measures to control the outbreak in the U.S. Failure to contain the outbreak in time has made the U.S. and the worst affected country in the world today, with over 190,000 deaths and over 6.3 million infections. The delay in taking effective measures also impacted the U.S. economy in an unprecedented manner, with high unemployment rate and estimated 32% annual contraction in its GDP. Joe Biden, Trump's Democratic rival for the post of president in the November election, said in a tweet that had Trump acted on time, thousands of lives would have been saved in the country. Trump, meanwhile, has tried to put all of the blame for the COVID-19 outbreak and the consequent health and the economic crisis on China and the WHO. He has alleged that China deliberately hid the seriousness of the disease, causing unpreparedness in the other countries' responses.
A special thank you to the People's Dispatch for our international stories. You're still watching Pan-African News. Coming up is sports.
It's incredible! Bang on target!
Afternoon, former Asante Kotoko defender Eric Donko has revealed that Kotoko players involved in the accident from a Premier League game against Inter-Allies in 2017 are yet to receive any compensation from the club.
Player who left the Porcupine Warriors to join Ash Gold in 2018 said despite the severity of the accident, the club is yet to pay any sort of money to them for their troubles. The accident, which killed the equipment officer Thomas Obeng, happened at Nkoko on their way back to Kumasi after a Ghana Premier League game in Accra against international allies. The unfortunate incident occurred as their bus ran into a stationary truck on the road. Most of the players suffered injuries, with the then coach Steve Pollack heavily injured, having to wear a leg support brace even as he returned to training with the squad. 3 years on after the agonizing accident, the players are yet to receive compensation from the club, despite the numerous support from other clubs and the Professional Players Association of Ghana. The only money we received was from the Professional Footballers Association of Ghana. Apart from that, we have not received any compensation from anyone, Eric Donko said.
And Mexican boxing superstar Saul Canelo Alvarez is suing longtime promoter Oscar de la Hoya and streaming service DAZN over the alleged failure to deliver their promise on a $365 million contract he signed less than 2 years ago.
The civil suit filed in U.S. District Court for the Central District of California alleges both DAZN and De La Hoya's Golden Boy Promotions have breached their respective contracts with the four-weight world champion, causing damages of at least $280 million. According to the 24-page complaint, Alvarez also seeks to recover damages related to breach of fiduciary duty, breach of covenant of good faith and fair dealing, international interference with contract, negligence, interference with contract and fraud, among other transgressions. The lawsuit states Alvarez was guaranteed payments totaling $365 million for his next 11 matches under the terms of a record contract signed in October 2018, a $15 million purse for a December 2018 fight with contender Rocky Fielding, and $35 million for each of his 10 following bouts, expected to be on or around the sport's customary tentpole dates of May 5 and September 15 from 2019 through 2023. The $35 million guarantees for each fight were due to come out of the $40 million license fee paid by Dazen to Golden Boy for each event. In addition to compensatory damages of no less than $280 million, Alvarez is also seeking punitive damages, attorney's fees, the cost of the suit, and a judicial determination that he is eligible to participate in bouts arranged and promoted by entities other than Golden Boy Promotions and broadcast by entities other than Dazen.
In entertainment this afternoon, one of the fastest growing media houses in the country, Pan-African Television, has been nominated in 6 categories in the upcoming Radio and Television Personality Awards. This year's RTP Awards is slated for November 7, 2020.
Yeah. It's box exclusive.
The categories include Television Current Affairs Program of the Year, Television Development Host, Television Digital Station, Television Morning Program, Television Male Newscaster, and Television News Program of the Year. Amma Pratt, host of The Couch, has been nominated for the Television Development Host of the Year. Justice Appiah, news anchor and host of The Hot News, has also been nominated for Male Television Newscaster of the Year, whilst Pan-African News also landed a nomination as a News Program of the Year. Alhaji and Halaji and Good Morning Africa have been nominated for Television Current Affairs Program of the Year and Television Morning Program of the Year respectively, with the channel itself also nominated as Digital Channel of the Year. The Radio and Television Personality Awards is an annual event organized by Big Events Ghana to reward the efforts of hardworking and talented radio and TV personalities. This year's event will take place at the Kempinski Gold Coast Hotel and will have in attendance dignitaries from all walks of life and media personalities based on invite. Host of Pan-African Morning Show program, Kwame Owusu-Danso, is hopeful that Pan-African Television will win some awards out of the 6 categories it has been nominated. Speaking in an interview, he said the nomination is a recognition of hard work.
These are very respectable, media personalities in Ghana. So if for nothing at all, I think that the credibility is intact, and this year will be nominated. We can only be grateful and thankful that the persons who monitor and who, through their medium is able to acknowledge, or for people to acknowledge the hard work that is put into our work.
You being the production manager of Pan-African TV, how do you feel about the nomination?
Well, like I stated in my earlier submission, for an award scheme that is credible to recognize your efforts, it's enough. I think that Pan-African Television has been in existence for like 5 years, for about 5 years now. And within those 5 years, we have tried to be different. We have tried to push the status quo. We have tried to bring authenticity into the media fraternity.
That's a do-all to vote for Pan-African Television to win all of these, actually. Now, the Westline Entertainment, organizers of the prestigious Western Music Awards, have slated Saturday, September 26, 2020, for the 4th edition of this year's awards. As a result of the pandemic, which led to a ban on public gatherings, the awards was postponed.
Yeah. It's box exclusive.
The awards, which will be 70% virtual with 30% live audience, will be held at the Naji Choice Mats Multipurpose Hall in Takoradi. The event will host a maximum of 300 people, which will include nominates and key stakeholders in the creative arts industry. This is to ensure a well-spaced auditorium with all COVID-19 protocols in place. The awards will be broadcast on all social media handles, Western Music Awards Ghana on Facebook and on YouTube. 9 artists artists are billed to perform on the night with 26 categories and 3 honorary awards. The award ceremony is expected to last for 4 hours.
This has been your best midday bulletin on the continent's most trusted news source, Pan-African Television. But before we take leave of you, let's have a recap of our top stories. And the running mate of the NDC, Professor Nana Opoku Ajiman, ends her tour to CSOs yesterday and charged them to lead for developmental change. Also, the Read Camp yesterday climaxes their reading and skill writing for young ones. And in health, the Ghana Health Service begins subnational polio immunization. In business this afternoon, Trade Minister Alan Tremantin assures of reopening of the Boakra inland ports. And in Mauritius, ban on fishing sales from polluted lagoon. And the global fronts this afternoon, Assange trial postponed after suspected COVID-19 exposure. That'll be it for the bulletin this afternoon. My name is Fauzu Masawudu. It's a Friday. Get some throw, let your head down, and perhaps grab a cocktail. Enjoy the rest of our programs.